Welcome to More Than a Few Words Marketing Conversation. This is another one of our What Went Wrong. And I loved talking to Daniel in the pre show about this. First off, he's been on the show before. We had a conversation about Reddit, and you should totally check that out. But today we're going to talk about a software as a service business that he built around some really important skills and discovered that he needed more than that when he grew. Daniel, first off, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Lorraine.
It's so nice to have you back in the guest chair. And today I'm going to ask you the tough question. What went wrong?
Yeah, so this was about 15 years ago. I had just finished a music degree, and if you can imagine, that is the worst possible starting point for starting a business, and maybe even worse for a software as a service business. But me and a buddy stumbled into a 24-hour hackathon at a startup weekend in Tucson and had a great time. I had actually a good idea that a pain that we both had that we were solving an issue for. So we built an MVP for $300, and our first sale was $4,500 enterprise license. So we kind of nailed the target market and found a good niche. The problem was either neither he nor I were software people or any technical expertise whatsoever. We were good at marketing and selling. So we scaled that for a while, but we never filled that technical debt hole. We ended up selling the company at year 5, but our competitors sold for $200 million to Oracle. So we were on the right track. We just didn't make it the whole way.
Well, I'm going to go back and just hit a couple of things there because the first thing is number one, I'm a startup weekend junkie. I used to facilitate startup weekends. So I love that this was an idea that came out of that. Um, but secondly, for those of you in the audience that are not familiar with the term MVP, it is the minimum viable product. It is what you need to get started, but it is not what you need to run a business.
Yeah, no, it's totally true. Yeah, we were really good at those MVPs and selling them before we even built them, honestly. But yeah, we never filled that technical debt hole, and it's hard to be a SaaS company for very long without filling that.
So what did you learn in the process? And if you could go back and do it differently, what would you do? How would you approach this so that maybe you could sell your business for, oh, I don't know, $1 or $2 million instead of
Yeah, I think that I mean, things that we were good at were marketing and sales, and I'm glad we validated the concept before putting resources into it. But yeah, starting at least with a technical co-founder or teammate would have probably solved a lot of these issues. And even in the age of AI these days, I've personally done a bunch of vibe coding now. And yet again, as a non-technical person, and we live in incredible times. So I think even having an AI assistant to even be that technical co-founder for the first little bit of time can be a great way to go.
absolutely. I think I think there's application there where it's not just the it's not just the technical, it's really filling in the gaps in your skill set because I've also come out of those startup weekends with people who had great ideas, they nailed the code, but they couldn't get anybody excited about it outside of their very geeky community. And so it's really, I think, figuring out where's your gap.
Yeah, I think that's totally true. And thankfully I agree with you. I think there's actually more people that are building and horrible at selling than good at selling and horrible at building. So I'm thankful to be the latter, I guess, out of those two. But yeah, whatever that gap is, and I think it even translates to life as well. I mean, even with your partners or your friends or your loved ones and whatnot, filling those gaps, having people to complement each other, I think that's just a great way to live.
Oh, absolutely. I really think that when you're building a team, and it's hard because you want to build a team with people that you like and you want to hang out with and you enjoy working with. But sometimes you need to bring people onto your team who make you feel a little uncomfortable because they don't think like you do, because they don't agree with you, because they criticize and tell you when you've got a dumb idea. But learning to work with them and having that alternative voice I think is what really builds successful companies.
I do too. I just brought on another teammate onto my team at Ready Reach here, and he's an absolute A plus plus player. And he brought up an absolute um, major issue that I wasn't aware of yesterday. And
Mhm.
it's one of those moments where the pit of your stomach drops out. But hey, he spotted it. I didn't, and I'm very thankful he did. Did it make me horribly uncomfortable and kind of wish I wasn't in the situation? Absolutely. But he saved me a huge amount of pain and anguish. So I agree with you on that.
Oh, one of my early employees, and she was fresh out of college, and this was her first real job, and she had to come in and tell me that I needed to stop doing something. And she hung around at the door to my office, and I'm like, "Well, come on in." And she's like, "No, no, no, I'll stand here," because she wanted a quick exit in case I just lost it. And she was absolutely right. I mean, she was absolutely right. I was screwing up. It was a bad choice, but my ego would never let me move in the direction that she wanted me to go in until she stood in my office and said, "You have to stop doing this. You just have to stop doing this." And she told me why. And I was like, "Well, yeah, I guess I do." And it was totally the right thing. And it really set us on a very healthy direction for the company. But getting people who will do that is hard sometimes.
It's totally true, and even incentivizing them to do that as well.
Mhm.
My wife and I have some rental properties, and I'm always trying to figure out how to incentivize the cleaners to tell me that there's an issue beyond the cleaning.
Mhm.
What?
Mhm.
Oh, the doorknob doesn't work. I get that that's not part of the cleaning, but maybe I could like. It's almost like a bug bounty,
Mhm.
like finding
Yeah.
these issues in your business or whatever it is, not just the technical code, but like soft qualitative things that you can literally incentivize and reward people to find.
Absolutely. Well, that's been great. This has really been a good conversation. We kind of went off in a different direction, but I think really important lessons on how you build a team and how you launch and make something successful and grow. Daniel, thank you for being a part of the show.
Thanks for having me, Lorraine.
If you have enjoyed this conversation, be sure to check out Daniel's LinkedIn profile. That's actually how I found him, telling one of these other I messed up stories. And I really appreciate the honesty and the authenticity of being able to say, you know what, I screwed up, because a lot of people can't do that. So thanks again for being a part of the show.
Thanks for having me.
If you've enjoyed this conversation, if it's left you with more questions and answers, if you have a marketing tip you want to share or a suggestion for an upcoming episode, drop me a note. Leave it on any of my social profiles. Just look for the Let's Chat button or on my website, morethanafewwords.com. This has been another episode of More Than a Few Words. Thanks for listening.